Keaton? Hello, sir. Keaton, what's this?
Oh, that was loud.
You know what that was? Zevia. They finally emailed me.
Zevia and barbecue sauce.
I'm waiting for that Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce to email me. I would do just about anything for Keaton. Fucking dog. Just sit. I would do just about anything for a barbecue sauce sponsorship. Keaton's joining us on the podcast today. He probably doesn't have much to say because he can't talk because he's a dog.
His nutrition is on point, though.
He gets that coconut oil mixed into his food.
High-fat diet for you. Oh.
He loves it. Gross, dude. Stop fucking cupcaking with my dog on the podcast. Our dog, I guess. You've officially semi-adopted him. Keaton, being gross. All right.
It's because it worked out.
He wants to lick your sweaty body. I feel like there's a lot of people who would want to do that.
Oh.
All right. Hi. Krissy McCagney, your host. Ryeface is sitting here next to us, staring at the screen.
Yeah, not participating.
Not participating. I have Kelsey here. She's been on. And then to my left is Ashley Beaver.
Hello.
Ashley, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Ashley.
Yeah.
And that's it.
All right.
No, I'm Ashley. I just started working with Krissy, Black Iron Nutrition. I'm a CrossFit athlete and
A very good CrossFit athlete.
I try. And also a paleo blogger, so very into food and nutrition and
she
CrossFit.
plays grid, and she's a weightlifter, and she benches 225.
Yes.
So that's fucking cool. And then we have Kelsey, who benches 200 now. She's like, oh, I don't ever bench. I'm just going to see what I can do. And then she benched 200 pounds. And I'm like, cool, I bench fucking 3 or 4 days a week, and I can bench 170 on a good day.
But
Sick.
you deadlift a lot.
Yeah. I used to. I don't anymore. I'm broken now. I don't deadlift ever. I haven't deadlifted from the floor for months. So what we're going to talk about today is, a lot of you know, for those of you who don't, we have a nutrition company. Well, the gym has a nutrition company, Black Iron Nutrition. Many of you know that I've written a book or two about flexible dieting. I used to coach a lot, and my coaching methods the first time around were a lot different than they are now. I'm a lot more relaxed as a coach now. I kind of went on like a year or two long hiatus from coaching, and then I started up coaching again about a year ago. So the way I used to coach, if you read my first book, you know that I was very like, eat fish oil pills to hit your fat, and it has to be dead on every single day, and you have to be adherent or you're fucking doing it wrong. And that's not really how I roll anymore. I know a lot of other nutrition companies right now are still at that point. I'm not going to name names. But I don't base success and failure off it. So dramatic.
That's dramatic.
God, what a baby dog. I don't base my clients, success or failures based off if they hit their macros to a T every single week. So Kelsey's been working with me for a year now.
Yeah.
And then prior to me, you were just using my book to calculate. Yep. So let's talk about kind of your journey with weight loss and nutrition a little bit.
All right. About a year and a half ago, probably, I bought Flexible Dieting 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's my second book that's not shitty, unlike the first one. Carry on.
And I actually was going through a back injury, and I knew I was going to have to not be in the gym as much as I wanted to be. So I just calculated it off of the book, and I dialed in pretty close by myself, and I think I lost about 10 pounds just doing it on my own.
What was your starting point weight? You saw the scale hit 200, right?
Oh yeah, I saw 209.
Oh fuck!
Wow.
Point. Yeah.
How tall are you? 5'7"?
I'm 5'7".
I'm 5'7" and a quarter. 5'7.4". We have a little ongoing joke here. Don't worry about what we just said.
So then I started getting back in the gym more, and I was losing weight, but not, what I needed to. I was in the open. I saw like 195. I was my first real open. Mm-hmm. And then I started working with you, and I really dialed it in, obviously checking in with you every week. I lost another say 30 to 40 pounds. But PR'd every lift and continue to PR every lift, which is crazy. And really, yeah, working with you, and then obviously you took me under your wing a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A little bit.
A little
But
bit.
I mean, I relocated you and you live with me.
Yeah, good point.
So yeah,
It's
and
been a little crazy all over the place to start. I think when I first started, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just, trusting the book, and then having you kind of,
and
tighten everything up.
the biggest thing too that was kind of like different about me and you is you were one of my clients where like communication wise you've always been more open with me than some other clients, and like when you were having issues at work, you would be like, hey, I'm having issues at work, you know what I mean? And like I think the fact that you never hid anything from me, never lied about, you know what I mean, and like your honesty, the more honest my clients are with me, the more I'm able to help them, because if there's other shit going on or underlying factors, or if you're, like not tracking accurately or just, fibbing your check-in sheet or stuff like that, how can I possibly help you? And so one thing with you is you were always like, I know I'm undereating, I know I'm overeating, this happened, that happened, and the communication was always there. And I think that's why your progress has been so amazing, because I would bet 25% of my clients are dishonest about something on their check-in sheets.
Right.
Because I don't know whether they're afraid or what, but I mean, like, I always appreciate the honesty, and how are we supposed to help anybody if they're not honest? And I can honestly say that I think that's why you've had so much success with your nutrition, is what your trigger foods are, what the problems are, and we have found how to fix them. You know what I mean? We don't fucking keep cookie butter in the house, and we don't fucking keep trail mix in the house.
That's true.
In fact, we bought 2 bags of trail mix last week, and look what happened there with me. I ate both the bags in one sitting, and I didn't feel good. I had a tummy ache the rest of the day. So, Kelsey's a full-time nutrition coach for Black Iron Nutrition now, which is awesome because it means we can take on more people, less stress on me, so on. So then we just brought Ashley on board. She spent all week. I mean, she's kind of been training for how long have you? I mean, like a couple months now, maybe 2 months, 3 months.
With you?
Well, no, because I've not as far as like me coaching you, but you've been like you've had access to the email and
it's been a few months.
You're an admin in the Facebook group, stuff like that. So let's talk about where you've gone through major weight loss as well.
Yeah, I've
you're 4'2", right?
Thanks. 5'4".
Are you really 5'4"?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I thought you were like 5'2".
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
I'm
a giant, so everybody's 5'2" to me.
I think I've probably been through a lot with my weight here and there. I think a lot of people have. We've gone through that. As a competitive gymnast growing up, I could eat whatever I wanted.
Right.
College happens, and I'm not training like that anymore. And I put on 30, 40 pounds, and after college, I started doing CrossFit, and I started doing the paleo diet. And that's something that has been a big part of my life for, 7 years now.
Ashley's living paleo on Instagram. For those of you who don't know, I know a lot of people follow her. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No, and I think there was still always a little bit something missing. And then, I met you, and I learned about flexible dieting. And I think as an athlete especially, learning how each macronutrient kind of affects my training and affects my body composition has been huge. And so I still do paleo for the most part. I'm not like some crazy paleo person, but that's the base of my diet. But incorporating the flexible dieting and the macros is just combining those two things has just been amazing for me.
And I think that's what a lot of people fail to recognize, that I think people think flexible dieting is, and you can incorporate anything. I'm vegan.
Yeah.
And I'm vegan-ish. I still hate saying it. I'm vegan. And I still do flexible. You know what I mean? And it's like you can be, we have paleo clients. We have, vegetarian, pescatarian.
Yeah.
They're celiac disease. We have gluten-free. And the neat thing about flexible dieting is kind of like all-encompassing to all diets. And it just is choosing to track what you mean. Being flexible with your nutrition doesn't even have to be macros per se. I mean, the definition's definitely open. So yeah, with the nutrition thing, I want to talk about kind of like my history with past have you ever had other nutrition coaches other than me, or no?
Nope.
Neither of you? I've had coaches who have given me meal plans, and that always failed every single time. And then I got kind of fat. And then when I decided I wanted to be competitive in powerlifting, I wanted to drop a couple weight classes. So that's when Lane Norton coached me. And it was funny because all I was paying for was the accountability, which is what I needed. And it got to the, like, I knew what I was doing. And like, you can know what you're doing. You can be a nutrition coach, and you need the accountability.
Yeah.
Both of you need
Right,
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I even still need it at times. I just don't really have it right now because I don't care. But even with working with Lane, I said, okay, who can I think of that I respect enough to actually do what they tell me to do and stick to it? And, you know, Lane came to mind. So Lane coached me. And every single week before I would check in, he didn't change my numbers one time through that whole 45 pound weight loss. I would check in and say, hey, I hit everything dead on and I'm seeing progress and I know numbers stay the same. Or it was, hey, I could have done better this week and I didn't make any progress. So I knew, you know, like I have to do better this week. And I think at the end of, like, when you're looking at nutrition, you know in your head if you can do better or not. And I think that's kind of like one thing we get a lot of, like, I know when I'm fucking up. I think everybody does. I think you know, and you just can't be in denial. And like one of the biggest things with your nutrition, and my biggest thing with all of our clients, is to figure out psychologically what is going on with them. And I talked about this on the Girls Gone WOD podcast. I know my scope. I'm not a psychologist, not a psychiatrist, not a therapist, nothing like that. But I am very aware and very educated on issues with food. And if you can pinpoint the issue, assuming it's not eating disorder, you know, but if you can pinpoint the issue and the triggers, that's how you start. And this is kind of what I talk about at my seminars now, is I have everybody, we go around the room and everybody identifies what their biggest issue with food is, whether it's overeating, undereating, not tracking on weekends, not tracking ever, you know, not, you know, anything like that. And if you can be honest with yourself and pinpoint what the number one problem is with your nutrition, and you can work on that, the results come really easily. It's when you're in denial and you're trying to, like, you know, hide those problems. So one thing as coaches, we really try to do is we're very, 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 very personal with our clients. Like, we know what's going on in their lives. We know everything. Yeah. We hear about dogs dying. We hear about new puppies. We hear about engagements. We hear about divorces. Like, I want to know everything so that I can be there for you to make everything else easier, you know? And like, I think Ashley's kind of realized now that being a nutrition coach is a lot more than just being a nutrition coach. The same as like being a CrossFit coach or being a personal trainer. Like, you become these people's friends and they trust you. And I think building that trust with your clients, whereas I hear about other nutrition companies who you check in and they say, oh, you weren't adherent, do better. You know, or you check in and there's nothing personal about it. Yeah. And that's one thing that I really pride us on is, I mean, like, Kelsey seems to know everything about
long conversations.
But like you even are like in text contact with a lot of them. Yeah. There's a handful of them. They're all of our Facebook friends, and you know, like I update them on my life. We have a Facebook group with almost 300 people in it now because we have the gym members and we have, you know, friends and athletes and client. Like, it's kind of just turned into a really cool community that people feel comfortable in. Like, the stuff people post in that group is stuff people wouldn't normally post on Facebook. So, you know, like one thing that we've really built with this nutrition company is a community of people who trust each other and who are, you know, all in the same boat. Because I think a lot of nutrition clients or nutrition coaches see dollar signs and money and income, and you know, it's really easy to get a lot more clients and then just like turn and burn them. So when I started to get more clients, I hired people to help me so that I could continue to run my business the way I like it to be ran. Because if I could handle 300 people, they'd be the shortest, briefest, shittiest emails ever, and people would not be pumped about paying me $80 a month to help them. Right. But you know, like these people are paying for accountability and a support system from people who are knowledgeable, who are also competitive athletes, or all three of us have undergone major weight loss. That's another thing too. And you know, I just think it's really important to build those long-lasting relationships with your clients. Let's kind of talk about your biggest struggles as a coach. I think people get really interested in stuff like that.
As a coach.
Let's talk about what your favorite thing about your job is.
I love the check-ins when someone is just like, so pumped.
Just killing it.
Like,
Fucking killing it.
even if they're very, like you said, very honest. They'll like say like, oh, I had a slip up here and there, but I'm PRing this, or
Right.
they had, maybe it's not a
They're
PR
the
in
mental
gym,
gains.
or the mental PRs where they're like, oh, I
Ate a piece of cake and didn't fucking feel bad.
Yeah.
right, exactly. So I love when people are just honest in their check-ins, and
Right.
and it helps if they're kind of funny in the check-ins. The
Yeah,
check-ins that make me laugh, I'm like, yeah,
There's the check-ins too.
some people.
I shit the bed.
Yeah.
I fucked up. The best is when there's a client who I've never heard cuss, and then they throw an F word in. I'm like, yeah, passion.
Yeah, I love when people just, you can feel their excitement or
Right.
their commitment through the email.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's your biggest struggle as a coach, would you say? My biggest, I'll start. My biggest struggle as a coach is when I feel like I can't help somebody.
Right.
Whether it's out of my scope or whether they're afraid to be honest. There's there's a couple clients I have where we have tried everything, every which way, and it could be a number of things. There could be like hormonal issues at hand. There could,
Right.
stuff like that. And there's no worse feeling for me than feeling like I can't help somebody, especially after we've tried everything. And I think that, I'm kind of stubborn. Like we talked about this yesterday. It's like a puzzle. It's an enigma,
Yeah.
Granted, these people aren't bookshelves.
No, don't bring the bookshelves.
But I like a challenge, and I'm always up for a challenge, and I'm always willing to help anybody, and I will do everything in my power to help. But whether it's because somebody has their body's very damaged, or whether it's because they're not being honest with me, that feeling is not good. And I think my biggest struggle as a coach is being able to know when it's time to just send them on their way or make a suggestion to send them elsewhere. That's very hard. I've fired people, you know what I mean? I've fired people who don't, it's so weird to fire a client, who don't, who aren't making progress. And whether it's, it could be for a number of reasons, but that's easily, I think the hardest part of being a coach is saying, like, I get to the point where it's like, I'm not going to take your money anymore because you're not going anywhere with this. And I don't feel good about taking your money. So that's definitely my biggest struggle as a nutrition coach, is kind of knowing when to let go.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've been working with any one person long enough where I've had that yet. So maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. You'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Ash, what's your favorite part about all this so far?
My favorite part. I think one thing is hearing the clients overcome their own mental battles in their own head, because I think personally that's something I've struggled with. What's the word? Food guilt. Things like that, or making a mistake and then just blowing your whole day or your whole week, and just seeing people say, "Okay, I made a mistake, but this is flexible dieting. That's what I'm doing. I've moved on." Or I was going to mess up, but I decided not to, and the mental battles is huge. I think that's something so many people struggle with when it comes to food. So hearing people overcome that is amazing.
Yeah. And I think what people fail to realize is, and like, I understand that it's different I know some people who have never had issues with food. They've never experienced, there's never been an issue. And those people seem to be the people whose parents like raised them eating pretty well, you know what I mean? And they grew up as athletes. Like a lot of my friends who are like wrestlers or like dancer, like people who have been doing whatever their sport is since they were like 5, and they look at food and they say, okay, I eat that. I eat that to perform well. And like, those people are like few and far between. So, every single person tends to have an issue with food at some level. And I just think that identifying that and focusing on that is the real way to get progress, because you can only mask a problem for so long, and you can like hitting your numbers dead on every single day. Yeah, that's great, but that's not going to fix the problem, because at some point the problem's going to arise. Like that can only, and I know some people, like some of our clients, get on like a major roll with their adherence. Yeah. And their check-ins are like, oh, I hit my numbers perfect. And then it seems like everything's going really great. And then like disaster strikes, and whether that's binge eating or whether that, it could be anything, or it could even be like drinking, alcohol comes into a big play with nutrition as well. And so, definitely that's one thing we really try to do is identify those problems and address it that way. And another thing we do, we really focus on how people are feeling, you know, and
like
that's people get really like gung ho on the weight loss, but we have a very fancy-ish. I color coordinated myself. Check-in spreadsheet. They put their weight, their waist measurement, and then their macros for the day. And then we have a system where they, you know, rate how their strength was, how their energy was, how their mood was, and how they think their adherence was. So before I look at anything, I look over at that scale to see how they felt about like their week in general, their energy, their strength, everything. Because if somebody's making constant PRs in the gym, but let's say they have a weight loss goal and their weight stayed stagnant, I really try to focus when they check in. I say like, look at all those PRs you hit. Like you had a really good training week. And like, I know the scale stayed the same and that's not the goal right now, but this week is definitely a success. And one thing with every email, even like the shittiest emails we get, and even if the person just completely shit the bed, like they didn't, they fucking underate by like 1,000 calories and overate by 2, like even the shittiest weeks, I will look at that spreadsheet until I can find something to point out that they did good. Yeah. So even if it's like, oh, but look at your sodium on one day, you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, like let's look at Tuesday, like see what you did on Tuesday. Keep doing that. That day was so good. And like, you know, and always, you know, like that's like comes back to the whole like bookending criticism with compliments type of method of talking to people. I always try to say like, hey, this was really great, but this is what you could do better. And this was also really great, you know, and really like, that's just that's something, you know, you learn in psychology is to help people better understand. You criticize them, but you bookend it with, you know, constructive compliments, whatever. Yeah. And that's just another really way to get in, you know, to get people remotivated. Cause I can't tell you, I've seen emails from other nutrition coaches and it's like, you can't just lay into people telling them they're not doing what you say, and like that's absolutely no way to talk to another human being and like get them to understand and comprehend what's going on. So
and feel committed to
right.
going into the next week.
Exactly. If
you feel like shit, like, oh, my coach is so mad at me,
you can't make your clients afraid of you. You know, and like that's another thing we see is we have clients who've come from other nutrition companies who are like afraid to check in if they had a bad week, because I'm assuming what's happened in the past is they had a shitty week and they checked in and their coach told them, oh, well, you did fucking terrible this week. You need to do better the next week. I wouldn't want to check in with anybody that talks to me like that. I'd be like, fuck that. So now, you know, like constantly saying like, and if people skip check-ins, it's like, hey, you know, you have to be, stuff like that. So, and another really cool thing we have the Facebook page, which is awesome. And we started kind of like running little weekly challenges. I'll let one of you guys talk about that.
Yeah. So our Facebook group there's a lot of people in there.
There's a lot.
A lot of our OG clients who, you know, one really good thing about the Facebook group is if someone has a pretty urgent question, they can post it right in there. And like I said, either one of us will be able to quickly get that notification on Facebook, or an OG client or someone who's asked us that same question before can quickly answer it or tag that person in a post that happened, 6 months ago. So what's really good about that group is that there's all the answers pretty much right there. Yeah. And the support in that group is insane.
If you're a nutrition coach and you don't have a Facebook group set up, you should probably get on that. It's like a very easy way to address everybody at one time. It makes it a lot easier to answer questions, anything like that. And I can honestly say that if we did not have that Facebook group, we would have we'd be answering emails for 14 hours a day. Like,
for sure.
You know, because if somebody says like, hey, they can post anything in the group, and like chances are one of those 290 people that are in the group have already had that question for us at some point in time, and they can share, the answer.
And the search.
The search function's a beautiful thing. So we, another thing you guys will start, for those of you I don't know if you're listening or watching. If you're watching, you follow the YouTube channel. What up? If you're listening, you should go follow the YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/BlackIronGym. On the YouTube? Yeah. NV. Search Black Iron Gym on YouTube. Please subscribe. We're going to start posting some really cool stuff, funny stuff. There's backpacking stuff on there. There's all types of shit on there. We've been filming our grocery
Costco.
store, Costco runs. We're going to start filming cooking. A lot of really cool, I don't know if you guys know, but like just to officially announce it, Chloe is here full time. Chucky Welsh is here full time. Kelsey is now here full time. Ashley is going to be here part time ish, semi part time, quarter time ish. She's going to be coming up regularly. So we're going to be recording. We're going to be filming our training. We're going to be filming shenanigans at our new house we just moved into, filming trips, adventures, everything. So please, please, please subscribe to the YouTube channel because we have a lot of really cool content coming that way too. Where was I fucking going with this? We were talking about the Facebook group, and then I went off on a tangent about YouTube. Well, we were just talking about content in general and like putting the content out there and like what we're doing. So, we are taking on new clients for nutrition right now. Now that we have Ashley's help, blackironnutrition@gmail.com if you want to email us to get an inquiry, or if you go to, is it on your Instagram yet or no?
Ooh,
Go to
not right
Kelsey's
now.
Instagram. You probably could find her very easily. Just go to any of my Instagrams and look for the hot, jacked blonde chick and then click on Kelsey Lately. The link is there if you just want to click on the link to check it out.
Has all the information.
You need, you can always email us. But yeah, we are taking on new nutrition clients right now that we have Ashley's help, which is sweet because there was a wait list for about a year. So that's not an issue anymore. But I don't know. I just really pride myself on kind of like how we do things. I'm definitely one of the most understanding people. It's crazy to say that because I used to not be like this, but I mean, you can attest to that. I'm incredibly understanding of all situations and sensitive to all situations with nutrition. Sounded like you were going to talk.
No.
No. All right.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. Yeah, I mean, this was basically kind of just to talk about the nutrition because I did that podcast with Girls Gone WOD, and then we kind of got a lot of inquiries. So I just wanted to dive a little bit deeper into exactly what we do and why we're doing it and how we do it. There was
Could I
something-
say real quick, kind of
Yeah.
like just my experience with you as you being my coach.
Yeah.
You've been my coach probably now for about 6 months. I came to Krissy, like I said, I've done paleo, and she did my macros for me, and I've always been probably, 5-10 pounds overweight in CrossFit. Like I could afford to lean out. Conditioning's always my weakness, but you helped me lose 10 pounds fairly, probably a pound a week or so, which was amazing. And about when I got to there, I got injured, and this whole last year's just been horrible. And I thought, I'm going to gain a bunch of weight. Mentally, I'm just going to want to give up. And checking in with you every week was just like, I managed to maintain my weight. My brace just came off. My performance is back up. And it's just incredible what you've been able to help me
You're
do.
making me cry.
No,
God
but
damn
really,
it.
like,
I'm sick of crying on my podcast. I'm sick of crying on my podcast.
no, but like, I don't know, like I feel like I had to take a whole year off CrossFit, and I thought I'd come back and just want to give up. I'm 30 this year. It's like, I'm getting on the older end, but like, I'm still in it because I kept my nutrition in track thanks to you, which is pretty cool.
No, you were fucking killing it the whole time too. Like in your attitude through all that, Ash, like I was so impressed. I mean, like I know I'm going through something kind of similar right now, and I'm not a fucking phenomenal athlete like the two of you. It's whatever. So I don't, but I mean, it's like it's your career, like with grit and with everything like that. Like, I mean, you guys can. I mean, I know people can say like, oh, it's not. CrossFit can be a career depending on your sponsors and how you market it and how you market yourself and anything like that. And now you guys are both a part of a nutrition company that caters towards weightlifters and CrossFitters and powerlifters. And I've seen a lot of people get injured and give up and let themselves go and quit
hard.
giving a shit. And like, you didn't do it once. You checked in every week. You were very, honest with me about overdoing it. And like, you enjoyed your summer.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like more than ever. And like, you constantly looked like you were having fun and everything like that. Yeah. You enjoyed your summer and you kept checking in. You were always very honest, and we took it step by step, and everything worked. And I was just telling you the other day, like, you look better than you've ever looked. For coming off an injury, like, you've always, I was telling, like, for those of you that know Ashley or don't know Ashley's always been very jacked. Like, she's just this little, like, bulldog. And, like, I remember from, like, seeing pictures of you to the first time I met you 2.5 years ago, You've always been you've always looked very strong.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed, like the other day, watching you with your shirt off, like all your muscle definition and like seeing striations and stuff in your back and your arms, like even just looking at you sitting here resting, like you have delt and bicep definition. Like you've always been jacked, but like the definition and like the veins and stuff, it's crazy. But it's not. I mean, it's not just me. It's you sticking to it. And,
But I wouldn't have even known where to start. I mean, like, and like you said, that having someone to hold me accountable. But
right, and that's what a lot of it is just paying somebody to hold you accountable, and like we're happy to do it, and we do it. I can actually say we do it the right way, and like I firmly believe in every product I offer, whether it's a membership at this gym or the mission behind donuts and deadlifts or anything, and I wouldn't be promoting something I don't believe is perfected, and I think it's finally perfected. We have a really good team of girls running it with the proper experience, and I don't know. You guys have kind of like walked the walk at this point now, and you guys have both taken the time to learn about nutrition and go above and beyond. I mean, I'm not going to say names again, but I've had clients who have had me coach them and just been like, oh yeah, I could be a nutrition coach. And they go off and they start coaching people without like doing any more further research aside just from what they learned from me and my client. So I don't know. I'm really excited for what we have. I have two of my best friends, two people I trust with my life working for me. And we have a hell of a lot of fun and we hang out. So you guys, blackironnutrition@gmail.com if you're interested. You can find me. You guys fucking know where to find me. I'm going to force Kelsey to change her Instagram name today.
Changing it today.
To Kelsey Keel. That's her name. And then Ashley's Live in Paleo. You can follow the gym, Black Iron Gym NV on Instagram. And go fucking subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please, 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 please. Bye. Bye. Bye.